start by saying it is an honor and indeed a privilege to be selected to be part of the Prime Minister's slate for the position of Vice Chairman of our great party, the People's National Movement. When I looked at the records and identified the type of people who have previously served in this position, and I note the great John Donaldson, Rossa Martineau, to name a few, these people would have been my mentors both in political office and in corporate office. And so I am humbled and honored at being able to have the opportunity to walk some part in their footsteps. To effectively do this job, that is of a PNM Vice Chairman, requires a combination of skills. A Vice Chairman needs to be able to interact with all members of the party and with the public in general. And a Vice Chairman also needs to be able to manage and build institutions in a way that will ensure the longevity and sustainability not only for this generation of the PNM, but for all generations to come. These are the responsibilities that cannot be taken lightly. And my experience over the past 30 years in community work within the People's National Movement and in corporate life have prepared me to shoulder these responsibilities. You see, I joined the PNM in 1986 after returning from studies abroad. And unlike other professional colleagues of mine who are PNM today and not PNM tomorrow, and I'm sure you could recall a few of those, I have always been an active member of the People's National Movement. Whether we were in government or whether we were in opposition. My PNM journey started in Faizabad, where I lived. And wherever I moved to, because of my job, I became an active member of the PNM, whether that was in San Fernando West, whether it was in Tobago, whether it was in Diego Martin East. These engagements, together with the assignment given to me by our political leader to be the coordinator of St. Joseph at a time when we recognized in 2010 that we needed that constituency if we needed to be back in government, to returning in 2015 and taking over the Dabini O'Meara campaign. All of these experiences have provided me with a wealth of and a broad perspective of the inner workings of the party, which is required for you to be able to serve effectively as its vice chairman. Being a vice chairman also requires a certain amount of tact and an ability to organize and mobilize teams to actively deal with issues with the party. You need to be able to work with people. You need to be able to be diplomatic. And I tell you, based on the work that I have achieved in my corporate life, having moved from this country to other countries working, diplomacy is something that I have, and therefore I feel that I am well prepared to be your vice chairman. So as I said before, my name is Robert Hunte, and the hunt is over. If you're looking for someone to be your vice chairman, you have found the person. But enough about me. Let me spend some time to share with you the importance of this election, not just for this party, but for the country as a whole. You see, I have always believed, and I heard my colleagues say the same thing, that work done for the PNM is work done for Trinidad and Tobago. And I'll tell you why. Because every significant thing that has happened for Trinidad and Tobago happened as a result of the People's National Movement. You see, when other administrations leech off the bounty of this country and the attempts to run it into the ground, we have continually showed the vision, we have continued to show the leadership that is required at different times of our country's development to benefit all the citizens of this country. The PNM government was the one that was responsible for monetizing our natural gas and setting up the LNG plants in Point Forte. The PNM government was responsible for the whole setting up of Point Lisas, which we all benefit from today. The PNM government was responsible for freeing and for floating of the currency, remember that? And freeing up a lot of the license and bureaucracy that we had, things that we take for granted today. The PNM government was responsible for free secondary school education and GATE. The PNM government was responsible and continues to be responsible for all the social programs that currently exist in Trinidad and Tobago for the less fortunate in our society. That is PNM government caring. The PNM government was responsible for the University of Trinidad and Tobago, and I could go on and on. And the tradition of transformational development continues today, even during this time when our country is forced to make serious financial adjustments to the dramatic decline due to a dramatic decline in our revenue. We have heard our Prime Minister speak about the building of the dry dock facility in Labre that will provide thousands of jobs. There's the continued development of the tourism sector. We have heard about the Sandals project. We have heard about the development of the airport in Tobago. We have heard about the development of a deep water harbor to facilitate yachting in Tobago. We have also heard, in addition to all of that, we have also seen all of that happening, and we are also hearing about building and extending a highway that will get us to Toko. All of these projects, past and present, prove beyond a doubt that the working of the PNM and that working for PNM is working for Trinidad and Tobago. But you know, there's a saying, and therefore, when you're working for the PNM, as I said before, and you're working for Trinidad and Tobago, it means, therefore, that as a member of the PNM, you have a certain degree of power. You have some power, because what you do is what is good for Trinidad and Tobago. But then there's a saying, you know, that with great power comes great responsibility. And so I ask you, how will you use that great power that you have as a member of this great party? The answer is simple. Yes, that lady is saying it. On September the 30th, vote solidly in support of Team Red and Rowley. And in so doing, you'll be safeguarding and protecting not only the People's National Movement, but your country as well. Take note, I did not ask you to vote for me, although by extension you'll be voting for me while you vote for the team. Because when you look at a football team, you know there are 11 players on a football team. All right? And if you have 11 players, each one of them have a role to play. Now, if you go out there and you put 11 forwards on the football team, regardless of how great those forwards are, it wouldn't matter. You will lose the game. At the end of the day, the captain and the coach of the football team also have to put a team out there to play a football match. depending on his opponent. So sometimes, they'll put a 4-4-2-4. Sometimes they'll play a 4-3-3. So it really depends now on the coach to look at the team, to look at the opponent, and put a team together. Right? Right, so... What I want to say is that our coach has put this team together. He knows what is the opposition. He knows what types of players that we have. And he knows the skills of each one of the players. So he has picked a team in Team Red and Rowley that he knows that he could work with, and one that will devastate the competition and win the game for us. And therefore I ask you, on September the 30th, be smart. Go out there, gather, take this information, and do the work. Go out there and encourage all the members of this constituency and neighboring constituency to vote solidly for Team Red and Rowley. Vote Robert Hunte for Vice Chairman and for all members of the team. I thank you.